Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not distracted, not scrolling, not pretending, but alive. If you're honest, you might not even remember. And that's not your fault. Because every single day, without realizing it, you step into invisible rooms, psychological environments that are quietly draining your strength, reshaping your thoughts, and stealing your freedom. Carl Jung once said, "People don't have ideas. Ideas have people." And what he meant is this: most of us are not living as ourselves. We are living as prisoners of environments we cannot see. Today, I want to take you on a journey through 7 of these hidden traps. They are not places you can find on a map. They are places inside your mind, inside your relationships, inside your culture. And if you don't learn to recognize them, they will consume you. So, let's step inside. The first trap is the echo chamber. Imagine standing in a vast canyon, shouting your thoughts into the air, and hearing them bounce back to you, louder and louder, until you mistake the echo for truth. That's what happens when you surround yourself only with people who think like you, believe like you, and fear like you. It feels safe, it feels validating, but it's poison. Nietzsche warned us about this when he wrote about the herd instinct. He said that most people would rather be wrong with the crowd than right alone, because belonging feels safer than truth. But here's the cost. When you live in an echo chamber, your mind stops growing. You stop questioning. You stop doubting. And doubt, as uncomfortable as it is the birthplace of wisdom. Think about it. When was the last time you changed your mind about something important? If you can't remember, you might already be trapped. The echo chamber doesn't just make you ignorant, it makes you fragile. Because the moment you encounter a different perspective, you feel attacked. You don't know how to wrestle with it. You only know how to reject it, and so you shrink. The second trap is the comparison arena. Picture an ancient Colosseum. The crowd is roaring. You're standing in the sand, not fighting lions, but fighting for worth. Every glance at someone else's success feels like a sword against your chest. Every achievement you make feels hollow because someone else has done it bigger, faster, better. This is the arena of comparison, and it is endless. Plato once wrote that the soul is like a charioteer pulled by 2 horses, one noble, one wild. The noble horse seeks truth and beauty. The wild horse seeks recognition and status. And if you let the wild horse lead, you will never arrive anywhere worth going. Comparison is not motivation. It is corrosion. It eats away at your ability to value your own life. It convinces you that happiness is not about what you have, but about what you have relative to others. And here's the cruel twist. Even when you win, you lose. Because the arena never empties. There will always be someone richer, smarter, more attractive, more successful. And so, you run in circles, chasing a finish line that doesn't exist. The third trap is the performance theater. This is the place where you wear masks so often that you forget the shape of your own face. You laugh at jokes you don't find funny. You nod at ideas you don't believe. You play roles that win applause but cost you your soul. Machiavelli once said that rulers must learn to wear masks, to appear virtuous even when they are not. But what he described for kings has become the daily reality for ordinary people. We are all actors now, performing for bosses, for friends, for strangers on the internet, and the tragedy is this. The more you perform, the more you lose touch with who you really are. You become a hollow echo of expectations. You become a costume that cannot be removed. Ask yourself, if no one were watching, if no one could judge you, who would you be? If you don't know the answer, you may already be lost in the theater. The fourth trap is the silent, suffering space. This is the place where everything looks fine on the surface. The family smiles in photographs. The couple posts vacation pictures. The friendships look stable, but underneath there is hunger, emotional hunger. Bonhoeffer, the German theologian who resisted the Nazis, once wrote that silence in the face of suffering is itself a form of betrayal. And yet, most of us betray ourselves every day by staying silent about our pain. We tell ourselves, it's not that bad. We tell ourselves, I don't want to be a burden. We tell ourselves, if I ignore it, it will go away. But pain ignored does not disappear. It festers. It grows. It becomes anxiety, depression, emptiness. The silent suffering space is dangerous because it looks peaceful. But it is a fragile peace, one that can shatter with a single honest word. The fifth trap is the chaos storm. This is the place where silence terrifies you, where every quiet moment must be filled with noise music, podcasts, scrolling, chatter. Because if you stop, even for a second, you might hear the voice inside you. And that voice might say things you don't want to hear. Jung noticed this in his patients. The ones who feared silence the most were often the ones running from themselves. We live in a culture that worships busyness. We confuse motion with meaning. But the chaos storm is not life. It is avoidance. It is drowning. Think about it. When was the last time you sat in silence, without reaching for your phone, without distracting yourself, and simply listened? If the thought makes you uncomfortable, you might already be caught in the storm. The sixth trap is the self-abandonment chamber. This is the place where you betray yourself, not once, but daily. You say yes when you mean no. You stay in relationships that drain you. You choose safety over growth. You silence your instincts until you can no longer hear them. Jung called this soul loss. It is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is the slow erosion of your inner compass. And here's the terrifying part. You can live an entire life in this chamber. You can build a career, a family, a reputation, all while being a stranger to yourself. The philosopher Kierkegaard once said, "The greatest danger is losing oneself, and it can happen so quietly that it is as if it were nothing at all." That is the self-abandonment chamber. The seventh and final trap is the shadow basement. This is the place where you lock away everything you don't want to face: your anger, your jealousy, your shame, your fear. You tell yourself, that's not me, but it is you. And the more you deny it, the more power it has over you. Jung called this the shadow. And he warned that what you refuse to face will control you from the dark. Think about the times you've overreacted, exploded with anger, or judged someone harshly for something small. That was your shadow speaking. Think about the patterns you repeat, even when you know better. That is your shadow pulling the strings. But here's the paradox. The shadow is not only darkness, it is also potential. Your anger can become passion. Your shame can become compassion. Your fear can become wisdom. Only if you face it. Only if you bring it into the light down. Here's the uncomfortable truth. These 7 traps are not separate. They are connected. The echo chamber makes you fragile, which drives you into comparison. Comparison makes you perform. Performance leads to silent suffering. Silent suffering drives you into chaos. Chaos makes you abandon yourself. And self-abandonment feeds the shadow. It is not 7 prisons. It is one prison with 7 rooms. And most people spend their entire lives wandering from one room to another, never realizing they are trapped inside the same building. So, how do you escape? Jung believed the answer was not to run away, but to become conscious, to see the walls, to name the rooms. Because once you can see the trap, you are no longer fully inside it. Plato told the story of the cave, where prisoners mistake shadows on the wall for reality. The first step to freedom was not breaking the chains, was realizing the shadows were not real. The same is true here. Awareness is the beginning of liberation, but awareness is not enough. You must also act. You must seek out voices that challenge you. You must measure your life by your own values, not by comparison. You must take off the mask, even if it costs you applause. You must speak your pain, even if it shakes the peace. You must embrace silence, even when it terrifies you. You must choose yourself, even when it disappoints others. And you must face your shadow, even when it disgusts you. This is not easy. It is the hardest work you will ever do. But it is the only work that matters, so I'll leave you with this question. Which room are you in right now? Because if you can, answer that honestly, you've already taken the first step toward the door. And maybe, just maybe, you'll discover that the prison was never locked.